Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your favorite podcast host, A. Millie, and I'm back with another episode of the Sip and Sip podcast. And tonight's guest, I have the privilege, the honor of interviewing Miriam Hyman, aka Robyn Hood, is in the building, all the way from West Philly. You have seen her on some of your favorite shows, such as The Chi, and she is now on the new season of Power Force, and she is also a CEO and a lyricist. I mean, the list goes on. So, Miriam, welcome to the Sip and Sip podcast. How you doing today?
I'm good, sis. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. How you doing?
Hey, I am just blessed to be in your presence. I mean, because we got a lot to talk about because, I got to know who Robyn Hood is, and, I got to get all in your business. So how did you get started in the entertainment industry with acting and in music?
Well, pretty much with the acting, it kind of came from the theater. I got interested pretty early on in wanting to do, film and television, but I didn't necessarily have a way in automatically. So my way to just get into creative dramatics was via the theater. So that was the route that I took. And then the music didn't come about until after I finished a graduate program at Yale School of Drama when I was getting my master's degree. And I was doing some theater, after I finished school, and it was a Shakespeare show. And I've always, just had a really like a deep love for the bard. And, I started just in my spare time, just writing to industry beats, industry hip hop beats, but writing lyrics that I wasn't necessarily hearing on the radio and writing about themes that I wasn't necessarily hearing. So that's sort of where the Robyn Hood sort of theme came from. It was like taking from the rich in terms of the education that I had received thus far, being able to travel outside of my community, travel to different continents, different, countries. So that was a huge benefit. And so I'm able to take from all of those things that I've, established thus far and learned and give to those who maybe have not had those experiences just yet, so I do it via this medium.
I love that. I love how you said you started off as a theater kid, and I too started off as a theater kid at Alabama State University. Then I changed my major to communication. So I feel you on that theater, and I love that. But most of what I love what you said is really being in the community and giving people like the same advantages that you had in the theater, and now that you're giving back, like your name Robyn Hood, we know about the character and everything, and I thought that was just like really, really cool to hear about that. Now, what do you think has been some of your significant moments for you in your career thus far?
Honestly, I would have to say I would take it back to me kind of getting into graduate school. It was a huge sort of feat, to climb, just getting into that program. They are accepting applications from thousands all over the world, and only 15 were accepted. Wow. Yeah, for my program. Wow. So it's, really prestigious, but we work really hard. And so I think the name kind of, it comes from the diligence, of the students. And so, there's a huge array of people that have come out of the program that have really gone on to do some really wonderful things, and not just acting, philanthropy, beyond, just any type of theatrics or anything. So getting in and then me finishing that program was huge because I was working a little bit before going into graduate school. So for me to take myself out of kind of like I was kind of just getting started. So it's like, you're just getting started. It's like if you kind of almost are about to get drafted. And before you get drafted, you say, well, hang on a second, let me go train for 3 more years and get my body ready. Everybody's like, what are you talking about? Like, no, you're right here. Like, the time is now. So me, I'm a firm believer, I'm really spiritual. So me trusting God and just believing that the time was when the time was, for me to go into the program. And, I feel like I excel. you know.
You did, as we can see
But
the fruits of your labor now. We see it.
well, I mean, I just in terms of the program was really challenging. It was tough. There weren't a lot of, students of color. There's always less women, than men. And so those challenges, there's a Black woman that you have to kind of deal with, and then still be the best of the best of the best of the best, so that was huge for me. And then, I would say probably, I can't, get into it because, strike mode.
Of course.
But when I booked my first series regular, I won't say which, show, but that was a huge accomplishment for me. I have like these goals that I set for myself, and some of them are education based, some of them are family based, some of them are music based. And so if I'm able to get to that checkpoint, sis, I'm good. Like I'm not tripping. I'm grateful, and so I would say those were two really huge moments for me in the last, few years.
Yes, I love that. Now we talk about you as the philanthropist, the actress, but I want to dive into your role as a lyricist and an artist. What role has music played in your life?
Well, it's played a huge role, and on a lot of different levels. In addition to being a lyricist and being an actress and being a CEO, and I'm out here, I'm in these streets.
You in the streets, you hustling. You hustling in these streets.
Yeah, but before going into graduate school, I was running a hip hop dance company with a friend of mine called Center of the Cypher in Philadelphia, which is where I grew up. So, I can move, you know what I mean? Like,
wait a minute now. So we got to add, can I ask, are you a dancer?
I mean, my education and my training was based in like hip hop, mafundala, which is a style of West African dance.
Oh, wow.
I studied ballet. I studied tap.
Wow.
I've had, the thing is that so I went to University of the Arts in Philadelphia to get my BFA. A little bit prior to that, I was studying at Freedom Theater, which is a historically Black theater in Philadelphia. I'm not sure if they're still in existence right now, but that's where I had some of my training. And so you had to be well-rounded and versatile. So you couldn't just do one thing. It was like, no, if you're going to dance, you have to know how to do a lot of different styles. So I really took to hip hop and different styles of, African dance, and really loved it. And so I was honing my craft. And so when I went into UArts, I was teaching like hip hop dance classes in addition to being a student, and I started this little dance company. And so anyway, I was always looking for good music, good beats to dance to, because, when you're hearing the music, like I think you said something about Beyonce. I don't know, something about concert.
Yeah, I did. I'm still on the high from the Renaissance tour in Atlanta.
So, it's that music, it's the choreography. Like, it's like, ooh, and when that beat drops, it's like, let's go, So for me, as a lyricist, the same way as a dancer, I always look to the beat. And so when I'm writing, like, I don't just have like writing sessions. It's like one of my producers, shout out to Easto, who's a part of my company, True Teleproductions. He'll send me a beat, or Air Jordan, who's another artist, on the label. He'll send me a beat, and I hear these beats, and immediately it's like, oh, let me get my phone out, and I'm in my notes. I'm in my notes, and the bars, they just flow, and sometimes you go back and you tweak things, whatever, but it comes from, the beat. And so I think when I started writing music and I wanted to start to focus on things that I wasn't hearing, it was like, maybe it felt like a blessing and a curse, because it was like, okay, wow, here I am. I'm not using profanity. I'm not talking about drugs or alcohol or, in the ways to highlight it, and make it seem like it's a positive thing, and like it's not affecting the community, So, I would, but then at the same time, you want your music to be relatable and relevant. You want people to rock to it. You want them to feel it and not be like, all right, the beat is hot, but sis, this is like a whole lesson I'm not trying to get a lesson right now. Like trying, so you wanna have that balance, and I'm a Libra. I'm always working on balance.
Oh yeah,
So
you know what? I kind of picked up on that. I'm a Virgo, so Virgo
okay.
Libras, like we here, sis. We here. We
Fall
here.
babies,
Oh,
yeah. So you have a birthday coming up. That's what's up.
yes, my birthday is actually next Thursday.
Okay, well, happy early birthday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's what's
Gotta thank
up.
the man above for just continuously to bring me thus far and continue to elevate me in this season. I'll be 36. So I'm just like one of those
That's
people. I
what's
just
up.
gotta give
Blessings.
it up all to God. Because without
Let's
him,
go.
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. We all want you here. Let's go.
Yes. Now, how do you balance, your life? You have you wear so many hats. It's like, I feel like
Literally.
you are a 10-piece. You are a 10-piece. I mean, come on, lyricist, CEO, actress.
Thank you, 10-piece.
Oh, y'all
Thank you,
for
10-piece.
You probably can cook, throw down, you know what I'm saying? So how do you
I do make a mean burger. Yeah, I was gonna say, listen. Well, thank you. I appreciate the flowers. I'm receiving all the love.
Of course.
Yeah, I think growing up the way that I did, I'm one of seven. I have a lot of siblings, and everybody was doing something. Also growing up in the hood, like you said, yeah, I mean, I live in Los Angeles now, but growing up, in West Philadelphia, there was so much against you, and so you had to figure out those positive way, like you had to take the negative and make it positive.
Right.
So I was like, I can't really be in these streets because I've seen a lot of not so great, things, and so I didn't want that to be the route, that I took. And I talk about this a lot in my music, especially this most recent album, FOE, Family Over Everything. And so it's those ideas of, okay, I saw what this person did and that wasn't successful. And I saw what this person did and that got them pregnant. And I saw what this person did and that landed them in jail. So let me try to not do any of those things and minimize drama in my life, because it was a lot of drama. You live in the hood, there's gonna be trauma. It is what it is. You're trying to elevate so you can get away from the drama. That's the hope, that's the goal. Exactly. So, but you're in the inner city and it's, a lot of people, packed environment. So I just tried to stay away from the negative things. So hence me getting into sports, getting into, the theater, and really just, I started having nieces and nephews when I was still a little kid. So you're forced into trying to set an example, and you're still figuring out what an example is, so I talk about, that in my music as well. So, everything that I speak about is the truth, hence Truth Teller Productions. Yeah, I can't talk about what I haven't experienced, what I haven't, lived. And I've had a lot of crazy, different experiences. It's like, I've been to Beijing, I've been to Shanghai, like, I can talk about that. At one point, I had never left Philadelphia. I had never left West Philly, never left the block. So when you get to a position in your life when you're able to do those types of things, it's like, yo, I need to share this. How can I do this, in a positive way and uplift and motivate somebody, and it still be a turn up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. Yes, and you still turning up. And I love your lyricism, your artistry. I think it's so diverse. And I love I'm just so in love with women rappers, women lyricists. I mean, of course, we are celebrating this year 50 years in hip hop. And I want to ask you, as a lyricist, as an artist, what does it mean for you?
50 years of hip hop, or to just
50 years of hip hop. What does it mean to you as an artist celebrating 50 years of hip hop?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I watched with my fiance the other day. I watched the Netflix special, which is on the women in hip hop, and it's it was just a really dope special. Talking about all of these artists and how they have supported and affected and like shifted, the craft and the game, and how they've gone unseen and unheard, but yet you can't not notice them. So the Shy Rocks and the MC Lights and the Roxanne Shantays, who I had an opportunity to meet actually a couple of years ago. That was really a dope experience. And I've met Lauryn Hill, and I've met Eve, and some artists who I'm aware of that weren't even mentioned, like Miss Jade, who's from Philly. I was like, wow, this is really dope. And for me to not be in that particular production, but to still be a part of that.
Right.
And to be in this, circle of women that are still, pushing the craft forward and still elevating, and the evolution, continues. Like, women have always been setting trends and have always been dope. We're just, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to give us our props, but we know what, you know what I mean? We know
without
what it is.
us, it wouldn't be no music. Without us, it wouldn't be no music.
It wouldn't be a lot of things, sis. It would be a dry, excuse me, I'm not, it would be a boring world.
It would be. Like, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. And, we talk about, 50 years of hip hop, and then we want to talk about, speaking about music, you have a new album that dropped on August 5th. Congratulations. And it's called MOE, Family Over Everything. Tell me about this album and how that name came about.
Yeah. So basically, like I said, I'm one of 7. Growing up, my mom would always say to us, God first, family second. No one comes before the family. And so when I was trying to name this album, I was like, what can encompass, like, what can the title be that represents myself, my brand, these other artists, that I'm working with? And so family over everything, just the idea of that just kept coming up, because we all deal with adversities and, different things. And so above all things, we work towards the music and having an ensemble mentality. And so I try to use, that saying that I was taught when it comes to the music. And I have this little acronym, HOT, which is hot. I always say it, the people I'm working with, like, keep it hot with me, which is honest, open, and truthful.
Oh, I love
and so, so I'm gonna let you borrow it for the weekend. But basically, I want the artists that I'm working with to keep it, honest and open and truthful with me. And so when it comes to this music, when it comes to just everything about the album, look at the cover art. If you're looking at the cover art and I break it down for you, everything has meaning. None of it is just random. So for instance, if you look, you see the dice, and the number on the dice is 9. Well, there are 9 tracks. If you look at, even family over everything, my biological Air Jordan, who is, I'm introducing him on the album. That's my biological cousin. Our mothers are sisters. Wow. Yeah, so it's just
in the family. I get it.
Exactly. But then my home guy, my homeboy, excuse me, I said home guy, my homeboy Easto, who he's also an actor, like myself. He produced several tracks on the album, and he's one of my day ones. Now, he's not my blood, but he's my day one, and that he's been solid since the day that I met him, and has been, just a huge motivational force, in my life in terms of me, developing myself as an artist. So they're my family, they're my musical family. And so even the artists that I've worked with, all the features, Genesis D. Hale, who goes by Vadi, Clay James, Trans Lee, all of these artists who are featured on the album, Jet the Third, I look at them as extended family members, within my music family. And so, they're listed, on the album. I wanted to honor those, artists, and again, make this a very collaborative effort. There's a picture in the top corner where you see myself, Air Jordan, and Easto. That was our very first, photo shoot that we had together. And you see the Truth Teller Productions jacket in the back, and we're playing pool. We play a lot of games, but we don't play about this music, sis. But, everything is intentional, that we do. Even this hat, this is from an Atlanta-based company. It's All Love, ATL, and they did these hats for us. We did this collab. And you know, on the front it says TTP, on the side it has our names, and it's a heart. You know, I'm from Philly, city of brotherly love.
Shout out to Philly.
Shout out to Philly, goes with the brand, even though this company is based in Atlanta. You know, so I'm still collaborating with artists that are about what I'm saying and about what I'm spreading. So, you know, it goes beyond just the music. The back of the hat, it says family over everything. You know, so it's just, you know, it's that type of thing of who are you rocking with? You know, you have to make it make sense, and, you know, making sure that you're not just, you know, putting yourself out there, but how can you also help other individuals that are, you know, on their way up, and, you know, so on and so forth. So, you know, just spreading the love, doing what we do.
Spreading the love and doing what you do. So how do you think this new album has shaped you as an artist?
You know what? I started to do a lot of things that I've never done before, and just shout out again to my cuz Air Jordan, because he motivated me a lot on this album. Like, when you listen to it, he does a lot of things that I haven't heard, you know, many artists do. He's harmonizing with himself. He's the bars are crazy, you know, like his lyrics are just, they're so relevant and so timely, but so classic, you know, in a way. And those are the kind of artists that I love. And so, you know, shifting over to me, hearing him, I was inspired to do things that I had never done before. So this one track in particular is called Shia LaBeouf, Eagle Eye. And it features myself and Jordan. He has the first verse, I had the second verse. But basically, he sent me this beat, and I'm like, what? And I'm on the balcony, you know, at my crib, and immediately I'm like, I'm going in. So I'm the type of artist, I work very quickly, you know, because like you said, I got my hands in a lot of things. So it's like, I gotta finish this and get to this, and, you know. So anyway, I lay my verse. I was like, this is amazing. I send it to Jordan. He's like, oh snap, like you really went in, like, you know. So he did his thing. And when I recorded it, I rapped my verse. And then I was like, I'm hearing it different, you know, in my head. Decided to sing it. Loved it. It sounded exactly how I wanted it to be. And so I said, wow, this is a lesson for me to trust my instincts, trust my gut, you know, follow my heart, and to go with it. But I was crippled as a child because my big sister told me I couldn't sing.
Really?
So I never really wanted to sing, even though I did, you know, sort of dip and dab, you know, a little bit in musical theater, but I never felt confident, you know. And she's a huge supporter, like, you know, of mine. She, you know, shout out to my big sis, but it was just like, I just didn't have that type of confidence. And so now I feel like I've kind of broken, you know, past that. So that was, so actually I'm gonna add that to my achievements. When we talk about
we can add that to that.
Thank you. So, but that was, and I love that song. Like, I was working out earlier today. I listened to it, I don't know, 7-8 times. Like, it's nothing better than listening to my own stuff and loving it.
I agree. And just in seeing how your craft your baby has come to life.
Exactly.
And it's evolving. And
he's growing up.
Like, oh, growing up on us.
You know, so yeah, that's what's up. But it feels good. And I want to continue to grow. And a lot of other artists, you know, they inspire me in a lot of different ways. You know, I may not be crazy about all the images or some of the lyrics, you know, that we hear, but there are certain artists, you know, shout out, you know, to Takeoff, who there was his cadence, like there was just, you know, certain ways is that he spit his bars. And I was like, whoa, this is insane. So it's a lot of people, you know, who are really dope like that. And they have all, you know, definitely inspired me for sure.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Now we're talking about, you know, you as an artist, and I want to ask you, what out of the whole album, what is your favorite song that you constantly listen to each and every day? Like you in the shower, like you riding in the car, like what is like your favorite song off the album that's like the first song you got to listen to?
Yeah, you know what? So I have two, and one is Shia LaBeouf for sure, without a doubt. Actually, I feel like I have three. I don't know. You said one, but you know what? I went through this at my listening party. I had a listening party in LA a couple of weeks ago, and people were just like, "I love the whole album. I don't know which song to choose. They're all so good." But I would say Shia LaBeouf for sure. And then I have a track called "I Promise." I Promise too, and it's with myself and another individual named Jet the Third. And so this is a track with another, female artist who I highly respect. And once I heard, just her music, I wanted to collab with her. So I reached out to her and she was like, whoa, like, yeah, we can do something. So I kind of jumped on her track and then we, did some things to get it on the album and everything. But really dope artists. Check out Jet the Third. Check out all of these artists, who are featured, on the album for sure. But yeah, I'll go with those two. And if I could get a third, I would go with Crybaby, which features Easto and, Vadi. And Easto also produced Crybaby. So,
Oh, that is so dope. Hey, listen. Those three songs, the whole album is just so dope. It's the artistry, just riding in the car, chilling. It's so different from what I'm used to hearing. I'm born and raised in the South, and so it's a different feel, but the album, oh my gosh, it is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Big up to you and your producer and Air Jordan. Y'all did that, family over everything. And
thank you.
For the viewers that will watch this, y'all make sure y'all stream her album. It is out now. It is dope. You will not be disappointed.
Thank you.
Not be disappointed.
TTP, let's go.
True Teleproductions in the building. I love it. And we talk about you as an artist, and you talk about mentoring the up and coming, the younger ones, that want to get into acting and into music. What is something that you have learned in this industry that you can give advice to, other creatives, other young people from your hometown, West Philly, that want to get into music? What advice would you give them?
I feel like I touched on it a little bit with this example about trusting your gut, trusting your instincts. And honestly, I feel like that's God talking to you, and telling you in that moment, like, you might want to go this way, or you should do this, or you should, and sometimes we get in our own way because we don't trust our instincts, right?
Yes.
So I would say trust your instincts, and then something that I was taught at Yale that I try to share with a lot of artists, which is to breathe and believe. And so, we're taught these different techniques where y'all would have had to get the training. I can't teach y'all the techniques, but there is this one saying that was taught to us, which is, to breathe and believe. And so when you're in those moments and you're feeling unsure, you're feeling uncertain, and you're in the moment of a scene, or it might even be you're working on your text, when you're feeling unclear, to really just believe in yourself and to breathe, through that process, because a lot of times we don't realize that we're tense and we're just not breathing. But if you breathe, we can be here with each other and we can be present and we can figure this thing out. So whether it's a collective or individually, just, breathe and believe, and you're able to, I think, settle, it's a way of calming, and, I think a lot of times we don't trust ourselves, and maybe we should, a little bit more. Or maybe some of y'all shouldn't be trusting yourself. No, I'm kidding. But, I think we have to find a balance, and so, but to trust your gut and to breathe and believe, I would offer that to any and everybody. Absolutely.
There you have it, Robyn Hood. Listen, you dropping some gems in this interview, and we're almost out of time. We've got about 8 minutes, and I want to ask you another question pertaining to the arts. I grew up in a small town, Tuskegee, Alabama, and the arts wasn't really you know, it wasn't out there for
Right.
people like me, a creative and wanted to get involved with media. We didn't see that. You always saw, you know, education, which is always good, sports,
Yeah.
but nothing about the arts. And when I hear you talk about the schools that you went to, there was nothing like that for me growing up. And what would
Mm.
you what do you think about that? How important should the arts be in our community as African
Yeah.
Americans? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's huge. You just mentioned 50 years of hip hop.
Hmm.
That's all us, sis. You know
Yes.
what I mean? That's us, you know. So our contribution is huge. If you watch any commercial right now, I guarantee you, you know, you're gonna hear some kind of a hip hop reference,
Hmm.
you know, somebody's song, and it's like maybe, I don't know, before your time or my time, or I don't know, 25 years or whatever ago, that may not have been the case. It would have been like really whitewashed and like, oh no, we can't, they can't, there can be no kind of hip hop or anything because we have to really sell it. And so when it's cool for them, then it's like it's cool for everybody, you know, but
Hmm.
it's always been cool for us and it's always been us. So I mean, I'm thankful to be a part of that. And I'm grateful for the strides to be recognized. But at the same time, it's like, you know, don't try to make it seem like this is something you created. Don't, you know, appropriate, and you know, because then it gets to be a little lame, you know, when you try
Hmm.
to make it seem like this is something that you conceived, you came up with it. It's like y'all haven't really came up with much.
Exactly.
Um, and what you came up with, nobody wants to talk about. You don't even want to talk about it. You know what I mean? So the contribution we, you know, for us, you know, has been huge. So I try to focus on that. You know what I mean? And definitely, you know, make sure that everything that I do, whether it's via the music or you know any give back, mentoring, the acting, you know, try to set an example, be a light, you know,
Yes.
shine for mine and
Yes.
for others that are waiting in line. No, stop. But the bars, they just be coming. They just
Yes.
they just flow. Yeah.
Yes, I love hearing that. You know, coming from someone that has been immersed in the arts for so many years, and one thing about me, I'm a ride or die for the arts. You know that there's something
Yeah, we
that
need it.
we
It's
need it.
huge.
We need it, and we need to continuously have this in schools.
Yeah.
A lot
And
of people.
actually, now that I think about it, the only school that I know of in the South is North Carolina, I think, School of the Arts.
Hmm. Hmm.
Are you familiar with that program?
I'm not familiar, but I do
Okay.
know my alma mater, Alabama State University, has a theater arts program. And what they do during the
Right.
summer, they cater to kids in Montgomery as well as surrounding areas. And it's called 3T and TAPS, and they do it every summer. If the arts program isn't in the schools, you can get an application. You can sign up to be a part of
Yeah.
their program during the summertime.
Right.
And I wish I had something like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
You know,
But we
different,
need it.
but we need it.
We
We
need it.
need it.
It's hugely important. And I think because I went to school in the North, you know, like the
Hmm.
Northeast, there's
Yes.
a really thriving arts community in Philadelphia. There's a lot of
Hmm.
theaters. You know,
Yes.
of course, in New York, you know, it's the theater, you know, Mecca. So you want to be there, of course, if you're doing theater. And then there's some theater in LA, but not, you know, not nearly as
Hmm.
much as there is in New York. So these programs are necessary and they're
Yes.
needed. And the kids love it. I
And
mean,
they do. They do. They
you
love
have
it.
to offer it to them.
Yes.
If you only offer one or two things, then you're only giving them two options. But if you say you could do a myriad of things, like you can have choose a plethora, you know, what would you like to do as opposed to, well, what do you want to be when you grow up, as if it can only be one thing. You know,
Exactly.
you couldn't say a multi-hyphenated artist. People were like, what the heck? When I said I wanted to act, my mom was like, I think you're the actor in the family. Like, I don't think parents really know what to do with that, you know?
Exactly. Hmm.
And I'm growing up in the hood. They want you to just try to do something to make some money, you know, and advance yourself. But if you go about it in a certain way, I think it can be hugely, you know, beneficial. But I did get the training. I did do the work. So I'm not, you know, somebody that just was like, oh, I just need somebody to find me and I'm sitting on a bench
Hmm.
or discover me. You know, I really, you know,
You were out there. You were in the streets. You were in the
underneath.
streets. you're
in
in the
these streets.
streets, and it has, you know, your you constantly evolving your
Yeah,
craft, and we see it, you know, as an actress, as a CEO, philanthropist, the list goes on, like a 10-piece, even like a lyricist and an artist. And you know, I gotta ask you before we wrap this up, we only got about
please.
3 minutes left. Any music performances coming up that we can come support you?
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
yes, we want to see Robyn Hood do her thing.
So, you know, we're still in the rollout process with the release. So, you know, we do have some things coming up. So I would definitely say stay tuned in to my Instagram page, Robyn Hood Music. That's Robyn with a Y. And then also the Truth Teller Productions page. If you're not following, definitely tap in. We have a show actually coming up this weekend in Chicago. And then right after that, we have one next week in Philadelphia. So they're both album release parties, but we will be performing, you know, some of the music.
Yes.
And we're just super stoked to be in Chicago, which is one of my like kind of hometown, you know, cities, because I work in Chicago a lot, as we all know. And then of course Philadelphia being my actual, you know, hometown. So it's a homecoming party,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
in Philly. So
Yes.
I'm stoked, sis. And I'm appreciative of you. Thank you for this opportunity. And yeah, definitely make sure you're tuning in.
Yes, of course, we got to tap in. We got to get you down here to the South. We
Let's
need
go.
Robyn Hood in the South. Bring it to Alabama.
It's coming. We got something coming up in Atlanta too. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that. Y'all heard it. Make sure y'all support Robyn Hood. Get her music streaming. We got to support our Black artists, our Black actresses, our Black CEOs. Make sure she's dynamite. She is dope. Make sure you tune in with her. Stay on her page. Don't stalk her page. Now, don't stalk, but just follow her and follow Truth Teller Productions. Sis, it has been an awesome interview. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe this YouTube video. Of course, this will be dropping this Friday. And yeah, make sure you follow the Sip and Sit, and we'll see you in the next video.
Peace.